Hello everybody, my name is Brandon. Welcome back to Cinefessions, where we talk all things media. I can't believe it, but we've made it. This is day 13 of my 13 days of Halloween, and oh boy, do I have a fun one to talk about today. So these 13 days have kind of evolved over the course of me filming this, and so I didn't expect today's video to be just a single review. I think I teased back in, I don't know, day 1 or day 2, or maybe even the announcement for this, that I was going to have something special on day 13. Well, it is something special just because of the movie, but I was going to do like the whole dates trilogy is what I called it, which was the films 11 11 11, 12 12 12, and 13 13 13 from the Asylum. But it turns out that they are not connected at all. The only thing tying them together is the naming convention. So I figured it wasn't worth it because it's not really a series, so why bother? And then I watched this one and figured, you know what, there is enough to talk about here. Like, this is a great way to end things. So today we are going to talk about 11 11 11 from, you guessed it, 2011, and I cannot wait to talk about this one. So if you guys have enjoyed these past 13 days, please give this video a like down below. That really does help me out. But with that said, let's wrap this whole thing up, guys. Let's talk on day 13 about 11 11 11 from 2011. So don't take a shot every time I say the word 11 in this video because you will die by the end of it. But 11 11 11 was, like I said, of course, from 2011. And this one was directed by Keith Allen, who actually, this is his only film that he has on his IMDb page for like a feature-length film. But he's probably best known for his work on Z Nation because he is one of the main characters there. I believe his name is Murphy in Z Nation. And if you've seen it, you'll probably recognize him. I believe he was the one who had like the antidote or who wasn't affected by the zombie outbreak, and so he was the one they were trying to get to like doctors to see if they could replicate his blood in order to find a cure for this zombie outbreak. But anyway, so it's very interesting to note that this is his only directorial feature-length film, but boy oh boy, he brings something very interesting here with this one. So in this film, we are following this family who the father is a professor. He moves to this town. He moves into like the college housing of this new town. And when he gets there, or I guess on the way there, we realize that his son is kind of quiet, doesn't talk much at all. I actually thought he was a mute at first, but he's not. He does talk a little bit, but he's just very shy and quiet. Anyway, as soon as we get there, we start meeting our neighbors, and things are just weird instantly with our neighbors because they are just a strange set of people. Well, of course, it will turn out that the son has something to do with the date 11 11 11 because he will turn 11 years old on November 11th. And so that is supposed to be like, there's a book that they're reading that says the devil will come back to Earth on, he'll basically turn 11 on November 11th. And so that's basically what the premise is here. We're following, is this child Satan or are these neighbors absolutely crazy, which both could be the case in this situation. So I don't own this one in the physical form, but if I did, I would have to imagine that the back of the box would say that this is Rosemary's Baby meets The Omen, because that is 100% what we're getting here. And it feels like a ripoff of both of those, but combining different elements from each. And so, I mean, it does it in a fun way though, so I'm totally okay with that. Actually, I didn't even mention, but at the start of this movie, we actually pick up at a New Year's Eve party, which I guess it does tie in with the rest of the film, but it seems completely random that we're watching a movie called 11 11 11 and we're starting off on like December 31st or whatever. But either way, we start off at this party and then all of a sudden this just massacre breaks out of nowhere, and it is just absolutely bonkers, but it is totally like Asylum bonkers, so it works. It's just strange. But anyway, that's when we pick up to and that's when we meet our family. But yeah, this one is just a lot of fun right from the get-go. So right from the start, you had that opening scene, which I already said is just absolutely crazy. And then it doesn't relent from there because minutes later, we're going to meet our first neighbor who is just absolutely creepy, weird, and strange. And all of their neighbors are just so odd. We meet our like kind of the old lady next door who's a bit of a like her husband has passed away recently. And she's just odd. She says that she's looking for her cat. And then we meet the like neighbors from across the street who look like they're like maybe just a little bit older than college age. They bring over some cookies, and they are just weird individuals. And so it just, every new neighbor you meet, it gets weirder and weirder. And then eventually we have this painter come into the house who gets hit by a car, and it is just the most like hilarious CGI car hit you could ever imagine. But it is so funny. Speaking of silly, this has the absolute most ridiculous fight scene I have ever seen in my life. It is edited together in such a weird way. The fighting looks super fake, but it is so goofy and funny, which is not what they're going for. Like, I understand that, but it's still entertaining because I was just dying watching this thing. Basically, we have like this nanny who's trying to take out this other person because she is trying to like establish herself as the nanny of the family. But the way they like introduce that character, and then this like phone call she takes afterward, it's just absurd. But it still works with the film, believe it or not. Like, it does make it a little uneven, the tone a little bit uneven, because I'm laughing at one point and then it's like creepy and serious the next. So that does make it a little uneven, but I think it still works because it's just so much fun kind of doing that juxtaposition between these two things. They go from just this absurd, like almost like just absurdly choreographed fight scene to some of these more serious moments. It just makes for a memorable movie, to say the least. Some of the acting in this is actually very strong. The next door neighbor, the elderly neighbor, she does an excellent job. She is believable 100% of the time. I think she's weird and creepy at the beginning. Then, you know, things kind of unveil as the movie goes on. There is an actor playing like a handicapped character. I think he does a really good job with that role as well. He's just interesting to watch. Just a lot of the acting in this is quite good. Now, there are some of the supporting cast that are a little bit over the top, a little bit ham-fisted maybe. But again, it kind of just works with that juxtaposition that you have going on for this entire film. You have a more serious tone mixed with this kind of over-the-top absurdity, and it somehow still mingles together to make for an enjoyable film. I mentioned a couple days ago how much I enjoyed Death Valley, The Revenge of Bloody Bill, and one of the things I liked about it was how they added in some of these small touches, like the population sign changing when people were killed. Well, something they do here is just the iconography of the number 11. It is just everywhere, and it works really well. It's not subtle necessarily, but it's just a small touch that I really enjoyed. You almost always see it when you see a clock. It's always 11 on it somewhere. Like, it's 11 p.m. or it's like 6:11, whatever the case is. It is very prevalent throughout the film, which makes sense given what this movie is about. So I thought that was a really good, like, small touch that kind of just made this movie even better for me. There were some scenes in this that were genuinely shocking, like out of nowhere, did not expect it in the least. And that always works for me. I love when a movie is able to do that, especially something like this. You know, we're dealing with a kind of expected lower budget indie horror film, right? You have a mix of Rosemary's Baby and The Omen, so you know what to expect, but still they were able to shock me on a couple scenes, which I think is very admirable, and it again elevated the film for me. And then there are some just of those ridiculous moments, like there is this relatively small car accident that is caused by CGI hornets, which is just fantastic, but then as soon as one of the characters gets out, the car just explodes to nothingness. Like, it is fantastic. This silly small car crash makes this car just like decimated. It's so funny, and just is another reason that this movie was, I found it at least, so endearing. And then the ending on this one, which again, none of these have spoilers, so no spoilers here, but it just goes absolutely insane at the end here. Like, just the way that they wrap this up is awesome, and I loved it. It's another one where the ending actually felt fulfilling, unlike so many of the others that I've talked about over these 13 days, where it felt like they ran out of ideas or budget or whatever and just had to like abruptly cut it off. Here, they go for it 100%, and it works really well. It is just amazing how this thing ends, and I was just like attached to I was enthralled by everything that was going on at the end of this thing. It was so much fun. So I don't know. I don't know what else to say about this one. It was genuinely surprising how much I enjoyed this. There are some decent gore effects in this, some like surprisingly creepy moments I didn't see coming at all. Really good acting throughout for the most part. Yes, there are some like unintentionally funny moments, but it just makes the film that much more enjoyable in my eyes. So this one was a ton of fun, and shockingly, I have to find myself giving 11, 11, 11 from 2011, 4 out of 5 stars. All right, guys, so the 13 days are officially up. It is Halloween. and I hope you guys all have an amazing holiday. Hopefully you have enjoyed these, whether you've watched one of these over the 13 days or all 13 of them, like I know some of you have, and I appreciate that oh so very much. All those comments I get to read every day just makes my day, so thank you for all of your support over these 13 days and beyond, of course. But if you guys have any other ideas for some more series I could review, like maybe not a 13 days series, but maybe a week or 3 days or whatever the case is, please leave those suggestions down below, because I would love to talk about some things that you guys are more interested in. So as always, if you guys did enjoy this video, please give it a like down below. That really does help me out. And like I always say, I don't just talk movies, I talk all things media, be it books, movies, video games, graphic novels, manga. If it's media related, I'm interested in it, and if you are too, you might consider subscribing. Alright guys, stay tuned for November. The haul videos will be coming back, which I know will appeal to the majority of you, I guess I'll say. But in the meantime, I want to say thank you all so much for watching, and thank you especially for locking yourself into the asylum with me. I hope you had half as much fun as I did, and I will consider that a success. But that's it for today, guys. I will catch you next time.